Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Put myself back on gallery view. Good to see everyone this morning. I can't believe this is our final coffee of the year. Where did the year go? It's been a year. So I have a few questions that came in. Thank you all so much for your questions. And then, of course, as always, we can then open it up to any other questions that may have come up or arrived since since these were submitted. So first and foremost, I guess I want to just frame all of this by saying it feels like the world is opening up and it's opening up very quickly. So just want to give you an update on where we are with things, and it kind of relates to the graduation question. So as you know, there has been a lot of shifts in terms of sizes of gatherings, both outside and inside, social distancing, mask wearing, all of that. So where we are in the school is that we will continue through May 28th. That was the date that the order will expire. That our students in school will be wearing their mask. We're continuing with social distancing, and those expectations that we've put in place will continue, particularly through May 28th. And I think specifically we've been starting to get a couple more questions regarding PE and during our lunch. So we're continuing for the spaces within the school day, as we have been with mask wearing and with social distancing. We will await further guidance after May 28th in terms of where there may be some changes. There are some exceptions, of course, in athletics. Athletics, there's no longer a requirement that that guests have to pre-register, and there are only 2 people per guest attending athletic events. The participants and spectators do not have to wear masks at the events, and the social distancing of 6 feet has been eliminated. So we're seeing already some changes during athletic events at the stadium to reflect just the changes that have occurred in terms of social distancing. But right now for the school through May 28th is business as usual in terms of mask wearing, social distancing while we're in school and during the course of the school day, including lunch and PE. So just wanted to start with that frame as we move into some of the specifics there. And so then there's a question about, can there be clarification with all graduation and other senior events if masks are still required? Nothing says they are, but the silence will lead into interpretation. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of interpretation right now because things are changing so quickly. And so we have a senior event. So super excited for our seniors. We have our Unity Day tomorrow. We shifted the time from 7 to 9 so that all of the seniors can attend. We will be, because we're not at May 28th, we will be enforcing mask wearing at the event tomorrow for Senior Day. The shift will come for graduation on June 3rd because the order lifts on May 28th. We have been able to now offer additional tickets for those seniors' families. And so all families, if they would like to up to 2 additional tickets for graduation, we're able to do that because there will not be contact tracing at graduation. There will not be a 6-foot difference or distancing for families in this who are coming to view graduation, and they do not have to wear a mask at graduation. We, of course, are going to strongly encourage that mask wearing, unless if you're fully vaccinated. I would say you don't have to wear masks. So we are going to, do our best to encourage mask wearing. We bought these great masks for all the students when we thought they'd have to wear masks. So they have them available. And I will send out some more specific information again with graduation in terms of the updated guidance that we're receiving along with MCPS. We're also waiting a little bit and kind of complementing the information that MCPS says regarding all of these updates as well. But there will be a definite shift after May 28th, and we're going to see it at graduation in particular. regarding the requirements. Masks are optional. We are not going to be marking the stadium in the way that the 6 foot difference families can be together. And we will not be doing the contact tracing at this time. For while I'm on the subject of graduation, if I sent out an email yesterday to just senior families, if the process for asking for the 2 additional tickets, we're doing a Google survey so that we can get those tickets to families. And so hopefully you're filling out those surveys. We would love to get that information back for Monday so that we can then have the tickets available by Wednesday, the 26th. So we have a pretty tight turnaround. But of course, if you have any questions about graduation, our graduation coordinator is Miss Christina Rice, and she's available for any questions you have about that. But we are excited that our families will be able to invite up to 4 guests, or our graduates will be able to have up to 4 guests on June 3rd. So that's where we are with social distancing. Some of the events that are coming up in terms of the seniors are Unity Day tomorrow from 7 to 9. And then, of course, the main event, graduation on June 3rd. We're super excited about that. It was on my mind. I wanted to circle back last time we talked about gender neutral bathrooms. We are making really good progress with that. So we had the construction department come out to convert 2 bathrooms. I thought it was going to be a simpler process than what it really turned out to be. So we'll have construction of 2 gender neutral bathrooms, one on the first floor, one on the second floor, completed this summer. So the timeline has been extended a little bit, but I'm certainly glad to see that that will be done very soon. And then the next set of questions that I received is about the virtual academy. When will MCPS decide on the virtual academy for the fall? When will Wootton students who decide to attend virtual academy still belong to Wootton High School? And who will be in charge of virtual academy, and who are the counselors for these students in virtual academy? All great questions. Yes, the virtual academy is moving forward for students who will be continuing in the virtual for the virtual academy for virtual schooling rather for next year. So any Wootton students who are signed up for the virtual academy, they will still be connected to Wootton High School. So it would not be like they're registering and they're attending a completely separate school. And so we will have many of our resources in place we will have all of our resources in place for our students. There will be an administration of virtual school. And so they're hiring staff members from administration to teachers. I believe some counselors as well for the virtual academy to help manage the virtual academy since it is a centrally operated school. However, the way that it's being described to us is that the virtual school, the students who are involved will continue to be part of the school that they belong to. So our Wootton students will still belong to our Wootton students. In that case, they would have the same counselor that they had this year. We would still be responsible for making sure that graduation requirements are happening. And we would also make sure that any other concerns or questions that are coming up, that they are part of the school environment and the classes that they are, the classes that they're there. So it's going to be really important that you stay tuned. I think that MCPS will be providing more information and an update. At this point, I believe you all filled out a survey indicating your preference for virtual school. They're going to look at that data and make some determinations about numbers and sizes and all of that. And then they'll be in touch a little bit more. MCPS will be in touch about the next steps for signing up for the virtual school. So that is well underway. And we hope to be updating you very soon in terms of any next steps that need to happen on your part. Let's see. And then I'm going to go to the chat a little bit. Let's see. Okay, let me see. I signed my student up for summer health class, the in-person at Wootton option. Do we know if enough students signed up? So it is a definite. Yes, we had lots of students signing up for that class, and we actually had to close it down at this point because we wanted to make sure that we could continue to offer that option of in-person. So I'm fairly confident that that's going to be a yes, where it's going to go for that one. So, and we're super excited about all of our summer offerings at the PTSD MCPSA meeting on Thursday. Thank you for bringing this up. We went through all of the summer courses that we're offering, MCPS is offering, and our deadline is June 4th to register for classes at Wooten summer classes. So if we could just make sure that if you're thinking about a summer option for your student, please do so by June 4th, because as Ms. Kobe pointed out, we're now trying to make sure that we have all of our teaching staff and come up with sections and all of that. So very shortly after June 4th, we'll be able to provide you more information regarding specifics around each of the classes. And we have some great offerings between our program and MCPS's program. There really is just a lot of information that is there is a lot of information and a lot of courses for all of our students to just kind of pique interest and to give a jump start in terms of classes for next year. And the next part of that thinks about the progress about gender neutral bathrooms. So can some of the teacher gendered bathrooms be switched over now? I'm surprised there was construction needed. Can you elaborate as to why? Are they being expanded or something? Yes, that's exactly it. To be honest with you, I was surprised too, because all I wanted to do was take the locks off the staff bathrooms and convert them over. It doesn't quite work that way. So we are having to actually take the bathrooms that we had in mind once we started down this road and asked about the locks. They were like, well, this is a far more of a project in terms of making sure that the stall, everything has to be up to code, and it has to be for the gender neutral bathrooms. They also have to be designed in a certain way. So it does require a bit of construction for the bathrooms to be converted. I was bit surprised by that too. And so a whole team came out and they explained all of our options for the bathrooms. And so they'll be very nice. They're just going to take a little bit more time. And so I'm sorry, I thought we would be able to do it very quickly, but that's not quite the case, just for safety reasons and for making sure that they're up to code, that it does require a little bit more work in that regard. But they will be ready, and I made sure to that this work takes place over the summer, so they're ready to go for next year for our students. I'm going to go back to the chat a little bit. I think there are a couple more. What is the dress code for seniors at their graduation? Thank you for that. A lot of times our students wear, it's going to be hot and they're going to be robed. So I would suggest something, just a nice, it's a graduation. So I would suggest khakis and a shirt, or, whatever students feel comfortable in underneath their robe, because they will be robed during that time. The one piece that, and usually students wear, dresses, slacks, a nice collared shirt, that kind of thing, because there are lots of picture opportunities afterwards. So I always want to keep that in mind. But because we are graduating on our field and we have a turf field, we do need the shoe wear to be soft soled and not high heels or anything of that nature that would actually damage the turf field. So that's the one thing we're particularly stressing to students, to make sure that they're wearing soft-soled shoes. In terms of the rest of the ensemble, most students wear not a business, or just more of a formal attire. They're not tuxedo formal, but just, like I said, slacks, khakis, a nice dress shirt, and again, they will be robed, so just kind of keep that in mind in terms of how hot the day may be, and just also a comfort level sitting there with the gowns on as well. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there are some other questions there that are there. I don't see too many other questions in the chat, and I can't answered all the questions that came in prior to. So if you'd just like to unmic and ask any other questions, that'd be great. What weather conditions would the graduation ceremony be rescheduled? Okay, I'm going to use Miss Cocker's line. It is not going to rain. It's going to be a great day. But obviously, if it's raining, thunderstorm, then that would be the condition in which we would reschedule. We are really hoping for clear weather during for that day. We'll certainly make a decision. It will be close to graduation whether or not we're able to move forward with it. But we're certainly looking at thunderstorms, lightning, anything of that nature would be, we would have to reschedule and go to our Saturday, June 5th date, just for safety and security. For that, so that would just be when we would make that decision, in terms of the weather. And so, what other questions are there? Yeah, we're all winding down. It's the end of the year. I understand. Well, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to Nikki on the PTSA for hosting all of the coffees and collecting the questions and just being a great partner in this all year long. I have loved these coffees. It's been great. It's provided me wonderful insight and just allowed yet another perspective of, some areas that we need to be paying attention to, and really making sure that we're getting all of that great feedback. So I appreciate your time and your attention every month to come here and to engage with me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a really great part of the day, and I hope that we continue it. We will be continuing for next year. But speaking of next year, we have been in our ILT starting to transition over and talking a lot about what will happen in the fall and our students coming back and really where we need to pay attention to in terms of such a disruption for this school year, and how important it is that we pay attention, of course, to the academic piece and the recovery process for that, as well as social and emotional. Students have been in their bubbles for a really long time, and so as they're all coming back in the new school year, we really have been doing a lot of thinking around and starting to collect some data around what would those priorities be in setting the right tone and making sure that we are paying attention to the needs of our students in a more global way. And so I just wanted, if we have a little time and you have some insight, I would love to hear some of your thoughts about what you would like to see in terms of response and in terms of planning and thinking proactively about our return with our students and what needs to be in place to make this transition as smooth and as great as possible for our students. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, I'd love to open it up to you and see what you've been having conversations about with your students and maybe other families in terms of what that return looks like for you as parents. No pressure though, but I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I think they need some social kind of returns. I think the academics, were and are and continue, I'm sure, to be strong. But I think what they have missed most in many regards is the social, and starting the year off with some different, just fun social activities, to me, would be such a great way to set the tone.
Absolutely. That's been on our radar screen for sure. Just making sure, how do we bring them back and, acclimate, have some fun, really be able to be back with each other and experience that. I totally agree with you. Thank you.
Sure.
I know for me, I have two ninth graders who have never set foot in the school. So just really being able to engage with not even getting familiar with the school, because they weren't even able to do that in 8th grade. I think maybe having an opportunity to do that before the school year starts, that would be wonderful. That would hopefully cut down on some of the anxiety of, going into such a huge school from, 8th grade.
Absolutely. Yes, we are so looking forward to doing our orientation. I saw that in the chat. prior to school starting. We're looking at bringing students back in small groups over the summer and really using the summer as well as a way to bring students in. So I think that is also a really great suggestion of more orientation for our students, both our rising ninth and our current ninth going to 10th grade. We know that they missed out on so much. So part of what we're doing is those jumpstart classes that are being offered for rising ninth and rising 10th grade. That definitely is one of our attempts to make sure that there's an orientation and being able to know the physical building to lessen that anxiety and get to know some of the staff members. But we certainly want to do that as well as we're thinking about the school year and making sure there are opportunities to do that. Our Patriot ambassadors are like, we want to do some more around on the kids. So we're absolutely, thank you for that. We're planning for that as well. Let's see, I'm gonna go to.
Also,
Mrs. Bolden.
one
Oh,
of the things
go ahead.
that, I'm sorry, did I interrupt someone?
No, you're fine. Go for
Okay.
it.
One of the things that, like, I have a junior and a freshman, and one of the things that my junior was able to do, I think freshman and even sophomore years, you did the reading groups where
Mhm.
kids like got to pick the book that they wanted. So it was great. Like the baseball coach often like said, I suggest this is what you all read. And then it was a great way for the kids to get to know other kids. So I don't know if you're thinking about reinstituting that, but even in a way that where like if the incoming ninth graders or even the current ninth graders are assigned books that are only for ninth graders, so it forces them and gives them the opportunity to interact rather than be in a group with like 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, but start to build that cohort of now they're going to be sophomores, but build that cohort together where, you know, for the first two or three days, and not the first, but some point in September, 2 or 3 times, they come together to both discuss the book and build a cohort of people. That may be a great way for them to get to know each other. And that's something that can be done probably for every grade, but definitely for the incoming ninth graders and current ninth graders.
Awesome. I love it. Great suggestion. Thank you. See, this is why I asked. Let's see. There's in the chat, is the Jumpstart, let's see, is the Jumpstart class for rising 10th graders going to be different materials than the online Jumpstart last session summer? If a student did online Jumpstart last summer, is there value to them doing it as a rising 10th grade version? Oh, that's a great question. And I'm going to say yes. We had to convert to an online version for Jumpstart for all of the reasons we all know about for last year, but we really do a lot more with students when they're in person. And so we are going to differentiate between the rising 9th grade and the 10th grade Jumpstart. And those are both in-person options. And so that's also going to add another dimension to it to acclimate and orient our students to the building. So I would say they are different and they're worth your time. They're worth the students' time to engage in that opportunity as well. Yes, the book club is a great idea. I totally like that. And then yes, we're going to continue with the chats next year as well. Because I love them and I hopefully they're valuable. So we'll continue to do that. Students should be allowed to register for clubs when school opens. Yes, there was a deadline this year to sign up for clubs for next year. This leaves out 9th graders who are new to school and to high school at a disadvantage. So every year we sign up new clubs for club offerings. So we have to have a process to make sure that we know which clubs will be offered for next year. So that first sign up was for students who wanted to propose a new club or to continue to offer an existing club. As far as students joining clubs, many, if not all of the clubs are open all year long for students to join because we don't want to leave anyone out if they decide they want to join, I don't know, the cooking club later on in the school year or whatever that is. So what was happening now is just registering the new clubs so we know which clubs will be offered for next year. So if there was something else happening, please let me know. And yes, we usually have a club fair during the first week of school, and all of the clubs come out and recruit new members. We also do that at our orientation, our rising 9th grade orientation. And we also usually have our clubs posted on our website. and how students can join throughout the year. So there will definitely be an opportunity for clubs and for students to join clubs for next year. Is there summer math homework or any work expected over the summer? We just started that an ILT. We're collecting a database. There are some teachers who want to offer enrichment opportunities over the summer. And so we're collecting all of that information and we'll be posting it on our website. And some of it will be, packets that students can complete. Others of it will be resources for here's where you can go to do a math tutorial and all of some really great resources they can use. So all of that, we're hoping to post it in early June, and it'll be a one-stop shop for all of the resources and for all of the summer enrichment opportunities for next school year. I think I may have missed a question in the chat. Yes, sharing calendars for sure for next year, fall calendars, homecoming, other big ideas. That's also a really important one that we have so that everyone knows what's happening with students. And it says, oh, I missed this one. My priority is to unmask the kids. However, the state at this time still has a mask mandate for schools, while not the general public. So I understand, yes, our hands are a little bit tied at the moment. I do see, however, the shifts in, like, for example, an athletic program now, based on the science, based on the data in terms of unmasking the students. So I will anticipate that this will be ever evolving, and I'm curious to know now, based on what's happened in the last few days, what the standard will be when the fall comes as well. All right, let's see. Are there any other thoughts or any other suggestions? These are awesome suggestions so far. I'm using my wait time.
Ms. Bolden?
Yes.
So I was thinking, to what extent with the kids, I think, at least I know my daughter's been struggling this year with academics, and I assume that there are a lot of kids who are likewise struggling. And, I guess what will be the approach for teachers this next year as far as understanding, right, that our kids may have deficiencies in some areas, or that, just even the return to the classroom may be kind of a struggle after a year of isolation. And so I just kind of wonder, will the teachers be getting any sort of instruction this summer to prepare them for that this fall?
Yes, so we are doing, so there are a few things that are happening. We are a pilot for a new curriculum around social emotional learning. The Wooten cluster, the entire Wooten cluster, will be engaged in some summer work around this this pilot program around SEL. And what I'm excited about is exactly that, right? That we need to look at the whole child and make sure that we understand the complexities of our students coming back after such a disruptive and difficult and emotionally draining year. And so there will be some specific training for all of the teachers in our cluster around SEL and how we're going to implement that. We're also just looking at the structure of our day, getting a lot of information back around our homeroom model. And I think it goes with what Ms. Jodelson said, is it says in terms of having our ninth graders get to know each other, and how we can leverage the homecoming or the homerooms as another way of connecting our students and bringing them back and really understanding that toll that it's taking, that this year has taken. I would say in addition to that, our biggest learning is going to be about differentiation and professional development, in terms of our students are sitting in our classes and they all are coming to us with very different needs. So how do we use more formative assessments? How do we use more, smaller ways to gauge where those learning gaps may be academically, and addressing them in the moment, and addressing them with our students, and knowing that we're going to have learners who are coming to us with a range of needs over the course of the school year. And so that is really, what our work is this summer and into the year in terms of just slowing down and making sure that we're addressing the needs academically, socially, emotionally in the classroom, in that space as needed. Because I think that that's something we're going to just keep in mind, that all of our students are coming back with something that we have to understand the significant impact that it has had on them socially, emotionally, academically, all three, and really how we deal with it. So the short answer is yes. We are planning now to, equip teachers to be able to do this work, and to be able to, understand the unique nature of what we're coming back into, and giving permission to say, this is going to be part of this recovery year, and we don't expect that we understand and anticipate everything that our students will need. And so we're just going to slow down and make sure that we're addressing what's before us first before we move on to, the next thing. So that's going to be the approach. That's what we have to do. That's what we want to do, to support our students as they transition back.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Bolden, I'm sorry. I'm so appreciative of that answer that you just shared, because I have a son who's coming in, who will be entering as a junior next year. And all things, if we hadn't had the pandemic, that's a fairly challenging year as it is at Wooten especially. And there's so many different things that juniors have to worry about. And I'm wondering, I can't even articulate a good question for it, of how best parents can prepare students entering that junior year, which is rigorous, and having the right runway to be able to, succeed at whatever level they're in. And if there's any preparation we can do in the summer to help support them. So it's good to hear that the teachers will be receiving some training, but if there's any other resources or guidance that Wooten can provide, we'd be appreciative of that. We are worried.
Yes, yes, and we always hear, and I think we perpetuate in a lot of ways too, about the junior year being the year that counts, right? And so there's a lot of messaging out there that that long-standing and has taken on a life of its own. I think that I'm such a big fan of really the connections we have with our students, and being able to ask those questions regarding how are you doing? What is this load like for you? Are you keeping up with it? You do realize that all will work out, and it's important that you try your best, but we're not here to stress you out and cause so much anxiety around this year and around this moment in time. And so I think to have our pulse on it, in particular, looking at what the students are taking, sort of breaking down some of those those preconceived notions and some of the messaging that they have and that they're getting. We are trying to push. Listen, we know that you are, we know that this is a challenging time and you want to do your best, but it's so important to plan a schedule and that allows for a life, that allows for, you to get in bed at a reasonable hour, that you're able to have time outside of school to participate in extracurriculars, that you just have downtime, that you're not doing anything. So I think it's so important to reinforce those messages, parents, us here, and making sure that we are really clearly articulating to students that yes, the junior year is important, but in the grand scope of things, especially coming back, we really need to just temper that expectation and that stress of the year with reality around what we're coming back to. And so we certainly plan on reinforcing that. I would say, as parents, your child best, and be able to listen and be in tune. And when there are, if you're hearing some concerns, to bring it to our attention, What I'm really stressed about, or not stressed, but what I'm concerned about too, is that, you know, a lot of times our students present their very best selves at school, and they're trying hard and they're doing everything. And then we're not always seeing some of what you're seeing at home in terms of the toll that some of that is taking. And so I also think it's going to be super important that, you know, we're talking to each other, the counselors are in the loop, because, you know, I have a niece who holds it together and really well while she's in school. And then, you know, when she's at home, she's a little stress ball and worried about everything. And I know that's the norm for a lot of our students. And so I think having that communication and really being able to have a partnership and just communicating out if there's something going on that we're not seeing is also an important part of this. But we certainly are also, we keep our attention to what colleges are doing, what universities are doing. And again, you know, there will be a lot of recovery. And so as best as we can, we share that with our students and our families about, you know, if it's test optional. So let's kind of downplay this whole testing piece, or if the schools are making other changes to accommodate for what has been happening over these last few years. And I think that also making sure that our students have that information so that they know what they're working towards, and they understand that their notion of what they should be doing is different than the reality of what everyone is asking them to do, and give themselves more space and time to really to not be so stressed, and to not to put so much focus on this junior year. I know I was a long answer and I rambled a little bit, but I do understand that concern. And I do think that it just takes all of us to really be paying attention and to providing some counter messaging regarding this junior year, and what they think those expectations are, in addition to the fact that they're just coming back from really just such a challenging time for all of us.
Ms. Bowden, thank you for the coffee chat. It was very informative and helpful. I have a question regarding the virtual academy. Who will be the teachers? Will some Wooten teacher be teaching virtual school as well? How the students will be organized?
Great question. So the county will be advertising for virtual teachers. And so teachers will be able to apply to become a virtual teacher. And some of those teachers, we could have teachers who are here that apply to be teachers for the virtual academy, but they will be separate from the school. They will be hired as virtual teachers. So the county is recruiting, and they are now posting, I think they're starting to post the jobs for the teachers of virtual academy. And what's really neat about that is that they really are looking for teachers who are gifted in teaching virtually and using the technology. So that all has to be really there. And some teachers are, quite frankly, not interested in that particular role in how they teach. And so the county is going to be recruiting teachers based on the needs and how many students sign up for the virtual school. And then those students will be enrolled with those teachers, obviously, for all of their classes. And so there is a possibility that there are teachers that apply from Wooten and all of the schools. And then we also use our normal recruiting processes for teachers. So there will also be new teachers to Montgomery County that could be selected to be virtual teachers. But again, our students will still be connected to our school. And so we will have communication and connection regarding the students' progress in the virtual school, and they still will be considered Wooten students. So along with that would be, you know, their participation in extracurriculars. We would still have a counseling component. So all of those things would still be in place for students who are enrolled virtually at the virtual school. Hope I answered your question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. let's see. Okay, there is the final grading systems for the school year 2021 still the same. Will there be a little flexibility? My son is struggling for his BC calculus with a particular teacher. My son is rising senior's final GPA is crucial for college applications. I would suggest that we, to answer your question, yes, the grading system and what's been in place is finalized. I don't believe there will be any other changes to the grading system for this year. Now, there have been lots of changes. It doesn't apply to your question in particular because it's a math course, but there have been some flexibilities around pass-fail options for students who are involved in courses that they don't need for graduation. But to answer specifically with that course, if you could reach out to me and we can be in touch and reach out to the teacher as well about some of, if there are a couple of things that we can do for the remaining part of the quarter, then we'd certainly work with you on that and work with your student on that. But in terms of the overall grading system for this year, they're going to continue it as it has been. But I encourage you to reach out to me so we can chat a little bit more about BC Calculus. Let's see, I hope I didn't miss any. Oh, Mr. Nelson, why can't MCBS get Parent View up to date? We are in marking period 4 and Parent View only shows 1 or 2 graded assignments for classes where there were dozens. I am sorry, Mr. Nelson. I thought that that was improving. I think that there has, for sure, there have been some challenges between Canvas and Synergy syncing. However, there are some workarounds. And so if there is a particular class that you are not seeing the grades, I would encourage you to reach out to the teacher first, because there could be, a syncing concern with that particular class. We are noting that for whatever reason, whatever glitch, and I'm not even going to pretend to protect it or to make sense of it, that there some of the classes aren't syncing, and so it could be that the teacher isn't aware that you're not seeing the parent view. However, we've given lots of feedback regarding Synergy on the school side and where there are areas for it to be improved. And I am really hoping that over the course of the summer, this was our first year with the program, and that program was already being launched when everything else happened. So I think that if we have an opportunity to sort of catch our breath and to see where those areas are that are of most concern, then the county is invested in trying to fix those areas. But for your particular question, I would strongly suggest you reach out to the teacher and make him or her aware that there is that you're not seeing the grades, because at this point that issue should be resolved, and that we want to make sure that you're able to see it. But larger concerns with Parent View, I hear you, and I know that the county has been trying to get that up to date. I just think that just with being virtual and everything else, I think that's been a challenge to do. Let's see. Please continue to greet the students as they come into school each morning. It is yes, I miss greeting the students as they come in every morning. It's the highlight of my day. And so I certainly plan on doing that. Thank you for that. My child is having a difficult time getting in touch with one of her teachers via email. Again, if you just send that over to either the resource teacher, if you don't know who the resource teacher is, send it to your grade level, your student's grade level administrator. Just please let us know if they're having a hard time getting in touch so that we can intervene. We don't want that to be an issue. So either you can send it to the counselor, you can send it to the grade level administrator, you can send it to the resource teacher in charge of that department, and we'll certainly take care of that for you. Okay, I think I got everything in the chat. So I just want to know if there are any other questions on this final coffee with you all. Let's see. Okay, we receive frequent Canvas notifications about comments made on us. So this is so funny. Sorry, it's not funny. Do you know if there's a way to either be able to view them or stop them? Yes, you are able to control how many of those notifications you receive. And I'm not even sure you knew that you could do that, but you can go in and turn off some of the notifications if you don't want that alert to appear. And if you need help doing this, one of our front office secretaries, Ms. Monroy, is very, very helpful. So you can call the school and we can help you navigate that as well if you want to turn off some of those Canvas notifications. All right. Well, with that, I am just going to say thank you all so much. I've enjoyed our coffees this morning, every month, and especially this morning. I think this is the silver lining, right? I keep going back to, I ask people, what are the silver linings? What are the places where we found something new and found something good that we can continue on? Based on these very, very difficult circumstances. And so being able to spend a morning together with you once a month has been really wonderful for me as well. I've always appreciated your partnership and your all of your questions and your feedback. Like I said at the beginning of this, it really does help us become a better place for our kiddos. So I really appreciate that. And I hope that each and every one of you have a fantastic summer and you are going to spend it with the people and doing the things that you love and take some time for yourselves. I want to say thank you for being, that other teacher in the room this year and helping with all of your students. I know that that was not an easy position to be in as well. And just making your home and your spaces an extension of the school. So it's been great partnering with you this year. And I'm looking forward to next year as well. So please have a great rest of the school year and be in touch. And for those who have seniors, congratulations. And I look forward to seeing you very soon. Have a great day, everyone. And thank you. Enjoy your summer.
You also, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.